Hi all, welcome to Tech Forum. In this video, let us see some details on AWS BAF and AWS Managed Rules. So AWS BAF. AWS BAF is a web application firewall. It lets you define rules that give you control over which traffic to allow or deny to your application. Means you will be able to control the request coming from browser. So what kind of request should be reaching your end application or end server. So you can use AWS BAF to help block common threats like SQL injections or cross-site scripting attacks. You can use AWS BAF with AWS API Gateway, AWS CloudFront, and Application Load Balancer. With AWS BAF, you pay only for what you use. Means the pricing is based on how many rules you deploy and how many web requests your application is receiving. So there are no upfront commitments. AWS BAF lets you create rules to filter web traffic based on conditions that include IP addresses, HTTP headers, and body or custom rules. So you will be able to define rules based on all these parameters. So this gives you an additional layer of protection from web attacks that attempt to exploit vulnerabilities in custom or third-party web application. So it will avoid reaching those requests to our origin server. All this kind of requests will be filtered from this layer, so that your origin server will be safeguarded. In addition, AWS BAF makes it easy to create rules that block common web exploits like SQL injection, and cross-site scripting. Okay, the next one is AWS managed rules. So what is managed rules? Okay, let's see. Like managed rules for AWS Web Application Protocol, WAF, are a set of rules. It's written and curated and managed by AWS Marketplace sellers, so that can be easily deployed in front of your web applications. So running on AWS application load balancer or Amazon CloudFront, because we already seen this BAF can be associated to API gateway or application load balancers or Amazon CloudFront. So here the external vendors, they are selling these rules, the managed rules for this BAF. So we will be able to subscribe to that rules, and we will be able to enable this with BAF. With this managed rules, you can quickly get started and protect your web application or APIs against common threats like OSAF top security risk. So what we were reading is we need to define a rule, right, to block this kind of request. But if you want to create a manually the rules, you need to put a lot of effort. But this managed rules will help you. It's already having a predefined set of rules, so that we can subscribe and we can enable those rules, so that you can easily enable the filter. Now, AWS recently launched a new capability called AWS Managed Rules for AWS BAF. So maybe around November or something. So they launched this new features. So what does that mean is the rules managed by AWS. Now AWS itself is having a managed rule set of rules. So to help us to configure and protect the URLs. So earlier, AWS did not had any managed rules, so we need to manually create all the rules. So but right now they created managed rules, so this will provide a lot of predefined protections. So this helps us to protect our application, so without needing to create or manage the rules directly. So we don't want to create much rules, but obviously we need some custom rules based on our requirement, but this will provide the basic protection. Also, there is a lot of improvements to the AWS BAF existing one. There is improved console and the API. So it will help us to easily configure and enable the rules. So the earlier version is now called as AWS BAF Classic. So the new version provide more improvements compared to Classic. The Classic version required more manual effort. So you need to configure multiple rules to enable the protection. So but this new AWS managed rules provide enable rule can protection can be enabled through minimal configurations. Yeah, so this is the flow. So here maybe if you see the AWS Firewall Manager, anyway, we are not going to talk much about that. This is the high level again, like a tool. So it will help you to manage multiple AWS BAF deployments. So you have multiple website or multiple accounts, like AWS account you are running across, so that this AWS Firewall Manager can be used to manage all this AWS BAF together. So BAF we already discussed. It can be enabled to CloudFront, load balancer, or API gateway. So you are obviously going to define a rule. So the rule can be built using the visual rule builder or through JSON. So that you will be even you can configure the rule like AWS managed rule, or even the rule managed by sellers. Now it will filter, like protect against the exploits and vulnerabilities, such as SQL injection, XSS attack. So it will filter out all the unwanted traffic. By defining the patterns, it can be based out of IP address or content, the body content, or any other parameters. So even you will be able to monitor. What are all the requests are getting blocked, and all those details you will be able to monitor. Okay. Now let's maybe quickly review the configuration what I was talking. So let me go into that. So yeah, I am in AWS console. So here you can search for BAF. So I'm seeing a BAF. I'm just clicking on that. So yeah, you just go into this, go to AWS BAF. Here you can see switch to AWS BAF Classic. So this is the old one, the old UI, old functionality. So yeah, so here if you see, you can configure web ACL. Yeah, so yeah, this is a kind of concept review, so you can click next. So if you see here, you can enter some name maybe. Then yeah, you can select a resource, but anyway, I have the CloudFront, but anyway, that's fine for demo. I'm just yeah, here you can create multiple conditions. So cross-site scripting match condition. So you can create a condition, and what is the name, where it is applied, then what data should be filtered. So as I already explained, so you can filter based on HTTP method, query string, so anything URI body. So that you can create like this. You can create multiple rules. Same thing, geo match, IP match. So different category of conditions you can create. So once you are ready, then you can say what is the default action, and you can even then you can review and create the rules. So now like this here, you need, as I said, you need more manual effort. You need to create multiple rules to block your property. So now let me go back. Maybe let us see the new UI, how it is looking like. Yeah, so this is the new UI. So here you can see create web ACL. Also you can see the list of web ACLs already created. You can define some IP sets, so that can be used in the rules to block specific IPs. So you can create a regex pattern sets, so that you can use that in the rule. So rule groups, like even AWS marketplace, you can get whatever the rules you require. You can subscribe to those rules. So let me now show you the create web ACL. So here again, same thing, you can put a name. Then here you can select CloudFront distribution or regional resources, application load balancer, and the API gateway. Let me give some name. Yeah, you can add a resource here. So because I selected already a CloudFront, this will I will be able to select the defined CloudFront distribution. That's fine anyway for demo. Yeah, here you can see this add rule. It's very simplified. You can see two options here: add, manage rule groups. So if you go here, so you can see an option called AWS manage rule groups. So that under that you have a lot of categories like admin protection, Amazon IP reputation list, core rule set. This will provide the top 10 OSAP protection. Then like you have other SQL database, SQL injection protection. So lot more other. You can have some other subscription also you can do it. This is all based on the subscription. They are also having multiple rules for that. Subscribe in AWS Marketplace. Yeah, so then you will be able to add the rule. So once you added the rule, you will be able to change the priorities, means the order of the rules. So then you can keep the default ACL action, like what need to be done. Yeah, so yeah, here I think, sorry, here you can set the priority. So once you are ready, like then you can go and create the rule. Yeah, this is looking very simple. So compared to the classic one, so you can easily configure the rule. Even you can use the managed rule and enable the protection easily. Okay, let us move on to the demo. So I have a website enabled through CloudFront. So this is my website, test.albinsblog.com. So if you see this is enabled through CloudFront. The request is coming via CloudFront. Yeah, so you can see this hit from the CloudFront. Now maybe let us focus on two issues. One is SQL injection and DOS attack. So let me show you maybe yeah, okay, this is the URL with some SQL injection data. So let me now access it. So I'm not enabled any WAF filter now, so I'm just going and accessing it without that. Yeah, so if you see here, I am getting a valid page response, but anyhow I am not able to get any sensitive data. So because I am trying to do some SQL injection, but I am not able to get any data. But this request should be blocked, because it can create a problem. Even somebody can send multiple SQL injection URLs, so that can that can create a DOS attack. So that can behave like a DOS attack. So the service can be unresponsive. So now let me go back to WAF. So I'm going to create a new ACL. So here I'm going to select the option CloudFront distribution. Now you want to give some, yeah, this is reloading, that's why. Go and provide some name. Fine, now add the AWS resource. So I have the CloudFront configured already. I'm adding that. Now click on next. Yeah, so here adding a rule. So I'm going and adding a manage rules. So here what I'm doing is I'm going and enabling this core rule set now, and also SQL database. Okay, that's fine. Add these rules. Click next. So if you want, you can change the priority. You can move up and down or whatever you want to do. So I'm fine with that. So this is okay. Yeah, now the rule is ready. So just to create it. Okay, now the rule is ready. It may take some time to reflect. Maybe let's see how it is working. Yeah, still it's working. Maybe we need to clear the cache. Maybe let me try. Okay, let's wait. Maybe. Yeah, so it's already giving for now. Maybe it was taking time. I don't think so. We need to clear the cache. So now if you see, it's saying 403 error. The request could not be satisfied and it's blocked by CloudFront. So it means that any URLs with the SQL injection data enabled. So whatever the rule we enabled, mainly that SQL data set, that rule, it's going to block those requests. So request will not reach to your origin server. Okay, now let's see another scenario, maybe related to DOS attack. So let me show you that. So what I'm doing is like I'm having a small Groovy script. So what it will do is it will send some multiple requests to the page. This is a script. Maybe I will be sharing this later. So only for test purpose. So I'm here I'm connecting to HTTPS URL. So because I'm connecting to a HTTPS URL, you need to install the certificate of this domain, public certificate. You can maybe download from the browser. So maybe through this comment key tool, you can import it, the certificate, and into the Java CSATs, Java certificate store. So this is the path. So your Java home, where which Java like Groovy will be finding to. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm sending around, let's say, like 150 request. So let's see, like right now, like again the rule is not enabled to block it, so I'm just trying to send it. So let's see the behavior, what is going to be the behavior. Sorry. Yeah, so all the 150 requests are going to be success. Yeah, it's all connection successful, any rule. So now what we do is we'll go back to this one, again console, open this BAF. So I maybe I did not show you earlier. So there is another category of rule. It's a manual rule we can enable. So we can enable this specific like DOS or restriction rule under that category. So maybe let me show you. So go on under this web ACLs. So yeah, so here you need to select, because I associated to CloudFront, you need to select this global CloudFront. It will be associated to that, the rule. Yeah, I can have this rule, like now select this rule. I can go into rules section. Yeah, you can add another category of rules, like add my own rules and rule groups. So somehow I missed that earlier. So here you can see, like you can create a IP set restriction, rule builder, a rule group. Like you can select multiple option. Also you can like through Visual Editor you can create the rule, or through JSON editor. So I'm going with the rule Visual Editor. So here again you can give some name. I will just give some, yeah, test DOS something. So here two types of rules are there. One is a regular rule, another one is rate based rule. So regular rule is like you can just create whatever the rule you want. So you can match all statements, matches the statement, then inspect what element it should be inspecting, header, query parameter, or whatever. So all those statement you can write. Then what is the action, like it's a block, allow, or count, whatever. So the same way, like other categories, this rate based rule. So here what you can do is you can restrict like how much like a number of requests in a specific time. Here is a 5-minute period. So a single IP can send it. So it's based on that. So I'm telling like a single, 100 is the minimum you need to keep. So 100. So single IP can send 100 requests. So if the same IP send more than 100, it will be blocked. Maybe it will not block immediately. Maybe there is some logic. So if you try 1 or 2 times, obviously like within that time it will be blocked. So then you can even say like you want to consider all the requests and apply this rule, or you can even specify some criteria to apply this rule. That's fine. Action, I am going to block it. So when this condition matches, I am going to block that rule. Okay, let me add this rule. Yeah, here there is one issue in this UI. So when you try to add this rule in this rate based rule, and you have already you defined some rules, as I already defined two rules, two setup rules. This is the third rule, so you will get this error because it's trying to put the same priority for this, saying it's a 0 priority or whatever. It is trying to use the same priority, but in the Visual Editor I am not seeing any option to change the priority. So what you can do is you can go to rule JSON editor. So if you see here, like you can see the priority, whereas my rules already one rule is having 0, 1, so that I can put maybe rule priority as 2. So even you can validate and see this everything is fine. Yeah, rule is valid. Yeah, now I am adding the rule. Yeah, it's success now. Yeah, now all three rules are enabled. So maybe let us go back. Yeah. So one more thing is like here when you are executing, you can see your like a sample request and what is the action taken into this UI. So you can see like yeah, one of the request was blocked. So which rule blocked this? SQL query arguments rule like blocked this. So what time it is blocked? So it's a kind of sample data, you can see it here. So if you want to logging enable, like you can enable the logging, but for that you need a Amazon Kinesis Firehose enabled. Now, yeah, same sample requests are already enabled. That's what you were seeing those data. Now, like you can see the rules here. You can have the priority if you want to like you can edit any rules. See 0, 1, 2. That is the priority of the rule. Okay, let us now go back and maybe execute that script. Like let's see what's happening now. The expectation is it should be blocking after some time, so I hope it will. Okay, the first one is still success 150. Maybe like there is, I think, some internal algorithm. Let's try one more time. It should be blocking. Yeah, now if you see, like it started giving 403. That limit is crossed, and also I think they have some internal logic, because like it's not blocking at exactly at 100. Maybe some logic is there. So maybe like I am giving a random URL, so I'm adding a random number there. That is another reason, maybe, because otherwise like there will be a criteria with multiple parameters, maybe IP and URL and all those things. Yeah, now if you try any times within until that time limit, so it will give you error, so it will save 403. Okay, this concludes the demo. We have seen the details on new WAF features, configuring rules to address SQL injection and DOS attacks. Thanks all for watching the video. See you in the next video.